everybody. So in this video, I'm going to briefly overview the course project. I know when you hear that you are going to work on a course project, students immediately start wondering what it's going to entail. What kind of a project are we talking about? We're going to be working on it in stages throughout the term, but I do want to let you know right up front what is in store for you. Okay? So, underneath this video, you're going to see a link in blue to a Microsoft Word document if you would like to pull up the course project overview and print it out. That is totally up to you. The same information is found right underneath that link. It's just copied and pasted right here onto the screen. Okay. So the course project that we will be working on is a research paper. It will be in APA format. You will have to have 3 to 4 sources at least. You will learn, if you don't know this already, how to properly use your sources, how to properly cite your sources, how to have the paper properly formatted in APA. We're going to go over all of that. Like I said, we're going to work on this in stages. But the end product will be a well-developed, well-researched, properly cited, and appropriately formatted research paper, roughly 4 to 5 pages in length, not including title page or reference page. So that's 4 to 5 pages of actual essay. That might seem like a lot, but once you have it all double spaced, and once you have done really good research, I think that you'll easily reach that page guideline. And it's not a strict rule. If you turn in something that's 3.5 pages long, you're not automatically going to get a failing grade. If you have, done really good research and written a really well-developed essay, then that's fine. If you turn in something that's 6 pages, you're not automatically going to get a lower grade. Now, I would really suggest trying to stay, at 5 pages, 6 at the most. But 4 to 5 pages is just a guideline. That's what we're shooting for. Okay? Now, the project is broken down into 4 parts. So you'll tackle each section as we learn out specific aspects of essay writing, specific instructions for APA format, how to do research, all that good stuff. Alright? You will receive a separate assignment for each part of the project. So it's not like you have to keep going back to the same thing. The project part 1 is its own assignment. Project part 2 is its own assignment. Each one will come with its own specific instructions and its own individual grade, things like that. But I want to go through the whole thing right now, give you just a little idea. So project part 1 will actually be assigned in week 1. This is where you're going to choose a topic, and you're going to answer some questions, and you're going to give me a little bit of your research plan. Now, I'm going to give you a list of topics to choose from. I believe there are 8. You'll choose one of them. They are all topics related to nursing or the healthcare field in some way. I try to give a good bit of variety, so hopefully all of you will find one that you are really interested in. So you'll choose one of those topics, and that's what you're going to write your paper on. Project part 1 asks you to use some of the pre-writing techniques that we learn about in week 1 and answer some questions about it. And that is worth, the whole course project is worth 45% of your overall grade. The whole thing. Project part 1 is worth 10% of that 45. It's 25 points, and it's 10% of that 45. You must submit project part 1 and receive my feedback on it before moving on to project part 2. Furthermore, project part 1 is a required course component and must be completed in order to pass the class, right? Once you have submitted project part 1, received my feedback on it, you are free to move on to project part 2 once it is assigned. You can even go find it and, see what it's all about, and start preparing for it, but it'll be assigned at a later date. But what project part 2 entails is thinking about your thesis statement, taking a look at the opposition, right? So what other people might have to say about your topic, and finding some sources that you're going to use for the essay. All right. So you're going to give me your working thesis statement. You're going to answer some questions about what other people might have to say about your topic. And then the sources, you're going to have 2 to 3 sources that back up your point of view, what you're trying to accomplish with the research essay, and at least 1 source that tackles some sort of opposing view. For each source, you will list the reference entry for that source, and then you'll also provide a very brief description of that source and how you plan on using it in your essay. So it's asking you to not only find your sources, but to think about how you're going to use them, how they're going to fit into your essay. All right. Let's see. Project part 2 is assigned in week 4. Okay. It is worth 25 points. And then it's worth 10% of the 45% that the whole course project takes up. You have to submit project part 2 and get my feedback on it before you're able to move on to project part 3. It is also a mandatory item, so you must submit project part 2 in order to pass the course. Okay. Project part 3 is just the rough draft of your research paper. It's going to be assigned in week 6. And during week 7, I will read over your draft and provide feedback for you and suggestions for revision. During that week, you will also conduct a peer review, and I will explain how this works when we get there. But you will be exchanging essays with other students and doing a guided peer review. There will be specific things that you are asked to look for when you read your peer's essay. Again, the peer review is not a part of the course project. It is a separate assignment, but it does involve the course project essay. That's all going to happen in weeks 6 and 7, okay? Project part 3 is worth 25 points. It is worth 10% of the 45% that the course project takes up. It is mandatory, and you must submit it in order to pass the course. Then, of course, project part 4 is the final draft of the essay. So you'll take the feedback and suggestions that I give you on your rough draft, and maybe even the suggestions that your classmate gives you from the peer review, and you will make revisions and then submit the final draft. It is assigned in week 8. And it's due by the Wednesday of week 9. So, the beginning of week 8 is when it's technically assigned. Normally, any assignment assigned in week 8 would be due at the end of week 8. But in this case, you actually get a couple extra days, and it's due on the Wednesday of week 9. It is worth 100 points. There will be a rubric that I use to formally grade the final draft. And it's worth 70% of the 45% that the course project is designated for. It is a required component and must be completed, must be submitted in order to pass the course. So that's how the course project is laid out. We start right away in week 1. But week 1 is just, choosing your topic, answering some questions about it, just, kind of getting our feet wet, so to speak. Project part 2 will ask you to start thinking about a thesis statement, start thinking about the opposition, start thinking about your sources. Project part 3 is the rough draft. Project part 4 is the final draft. So we start in week 1, we end on Wednesday, almost midway through week 9. So you can see we're taking almost the entire term to work on this project. The material that we cover each week in the module material, almost all of it is going to assist you with making sure you are, not only having the basic elements of an essay, a good intro and thesis statement, body paragraphs, concluding paragraphs, all of those things. We will also cover how to start a research project, how to keep track of your sources, how to make sure you're not plagiarizing anything, how to cite your sources, how to integrate source material properly into your writing. We're going to practice that. We're going to be, of course, going over APA format, in full, the basics all the way to citations and reference pages, revision process. We're going to go through all of it, all right? And that's why we work on it in stages, okay? But that's what you have in store for you. And again, each project has its own separate assignment and, detailed instructions. So if it seems overwhelming now, just, put it out of your mind and say, don't worry about it just yet. I will find out exactly what I need to do in each step along the way, okay? So if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. But I will say, hold off and maybe wait to ask me questions until you've taken a look at project part 1, which is getting assigned this week. Once you take a look at project part 1 and you see the topics that I've given you to choose from, then if you still have any questions or concerns, of course at that point reach out to me, right? Otherwise you guys are free to move on to the next item.